welcome to another up close video. So today's one is looking at Tonic's Designer's Choice die number 6, and this is a die set that's called Cosy Cantilever box. I think that's what it's called, and you actually get the instructions with this die set as well, which is brilliant. And the actual die set is supposed to create this cantilever box, obviously from the title of it. If you've seen the new storage caddies from Tonic, there's a backpack and then there's another one. The other one has these sort of boxes that sort of move backwards out of each other, like one of those old-fashioned sewing boxes, and that's what this creates. The instructions tell you how to create one like this, where it's just a single stack and they all come back out of each other, or on the other side it also tells you how to create this kind of thing as well. But the one that I've done that I will show you, I actually followed the instructions and looked at this one, but instead of putting this one on the top, I doubled the whole thing up and joined two of the boxes as the bottom and made like an old-fashioned sewing box kind of one that has the two pieces that all come out. And I just created my own little kind of lid thing, just using the base die from the set and chopping off the side panels and stuff. I just created my own little lid. And I've also done another one just using two of them and creating a little box that opens as well. I haven't filmed those ones just because you get the instructions in here and it's quite easy to figure out how to change it around and stuff. But I have filmed one video showing how to use all of these bits and pieces, like all the little smaller dies and the rectangles and all that kind of stuff from here, to create a couple of cards as well. So I thought it would be more worth filming that, because you already get the instructions to make the three-dimensional product that this makes. So the Designer's Choice dies are available to buy as soon as the release date. So on the day of this video, you should be able to buy them off the website, both on the UK website and the USA website, and they ship straight away. So it's not like the Tonic Craft kit where you order it and then it ships like the 1st of the next month. This is ready for them to ship out to you straight away, unless there's been any complications, but that's how it usually works. So let's show you the die set up close first. The actual Designer's Choice die sets, they come in like an A5 kind of plastic sleeve that has the gorgeous little Designer's Choice logo sticker on it, and they actually come the way the dies used to come packaged. So it was a piece of acetate with the little foam strips on, and they were all stuck to it. But I take cheap magnetic sheets that I just got off of eBay, and I trim them down to roughly an A5 kind of a size, and then put all of my dies onto that, because they're not going to fall off then. I'm not worrying about the sticky from the foam tape losing its stick and then them all dropping down to the bottom of the pocket or something. So that's how I like to keep mine. So I'll zoom you in a bit and we can have a look at the die set. So this is the piece that creates the actual little boxes, and these little lips around the edge, they're actually supposed to all stick together as you build the sides up, and it creates like a little I suppose a little lip that comes around the edge of the box, which helps when they're sitting on top of each other. They're actually going to sit on top of each other rather than try to squish inside each other. And on the other one that I did, I actually folded these inside to sort of strengthen the edge. But if you're doing one of the cantilever ones where they're all sitting on top of each other, you kind of want this lip to be there all the way around so that it strengthens the whole structure. For the double cantilever one that I made, that I'll show you later, you need 6 of these, and you can only get 2 out of an A4 piece. Obviously you have spare scraps as well, but you can't quite fit 3 out of it. So you've got to make sure you have at least 3 pieces of the same cardstock, whatever kind of cardstock you want to use if you're going to do the double cantilever one. And if you notice on the die, you have these little holes here, and they're on the 2 opposite flaps. They're the ones that actually have the glue tab on, and you've got the 3 little holes, and this is how the whole cantilever system works, because you also get these 2 pieces, which are the little braces that create that mechanism of, you know, it going from being like this to going like this, and then the boxes are sort of moving outwards. And on each side of a stack of 3 boxes, you need 2 of these and 1 of these to create the whole kind of cantilever mechanism, but obviously that's in the instructions for you. And the way these work is when you have the multiple boxes sitting on top of each other, like for example this one would go diagonally across all the 3 boxes, and then these ones would sort of join the bottom 2 boxes together and the top 2 boxes together as well, filling in the majority of the holes get filled in, but there are a few holes that will be left. But the way I was dealing with that is I just took some of the Nuvo gems, these rose triad ones, or any of the 8 different types of Nuvo gems that they've got, and you can easily just use them to stick over the hole, and no one will know that it was there. And for this mechanism you need brads as well. I was actually using bigger brads, but they've given you quite small holes, so if you have any of the tiny little brads, they should work as well, but I was just using bigger ones, you know, that are like a regular sort of split pin kind of a size, and they were working fine. Even though their legs are wider than the diameter of that hole, it was still working fine. So that is the sort of how it works really, and those are the pieces that you will need to make the whole thing work. But again, the instructions tell you how to get it to work, which is marvellous. Then you also have these 2 pieces, which I haven't used this on either of mine actually, because I wanted a magnetic closure to make sure it would stay shut really nicely, but this is a closure mechanism, so this piece, this would sort of stick on and wrap round the box or come down the side of the box depending on how you want to fix this to your box. And then you cut 2 of these, you stick this circular part back to back and splay these 2 bottom rectangles out, and then you stick it onto the box so that this circle will go through that slot, and that will keep it closed. So that's how the little mechanism works, and you have 2 little decorative pieces to decorate that main tab of that mechanism too. Then you have 2 different versions of like focal decorations. I really do love this butterfly one. I've probably used that, yeah, I've used that the most actually on my samples that I've done. And then you also get this gorgeous one with the line design and a sort of latticey kind of design, and you've got little hearts in there as well. Then you also get a side panel piece to match this latticey design, and a side panel piece to match the butterfly design, and then you get a whole load of different rectangles for decorating the other areas of the box depending how much you like to mat and layer really. I've just kept mine, I've used specialty cardstock, so I've used foiled Kraft card, so it kind of eliminates the need to add all of these little rectangles to the sides of it. But if you just want to use your regular Craft Perfect and save your specialty cardstock, you could cut your little panels out of specialty stuff and stick that on to save, you know, save the amount that you're using. But you get all the different rectangles that you would need to decorate with. So you've got a larger dotty one, a plain one, and then a slightly smaller stitched one that would mat onto that side. And then you've got 4 different really skinny ones that would fit either side of the holes mechanism. And I think these little skinny ones would be really great for small little sentiments. You could stamp your sentiment first and then cut it out with your little skinny rectangle. I think that would be really good. And I've also used, I think we used the dotty one as sort of like little strip decorations on one of the cards that I've done as well. But that is the die set, and you do get the little sheet of instructions of how it all goes together. Then these are the 2 cards that I created in a video that should be up soon. This is a shaker card, but I did it as a glitter shaker card, so it doesn't really shake that much, but it's kind of a cool way of using glitter on a card for somebody who like maybe doesn't like the feel of glitter, because it's hidden behind acetate, so they can see the gorgeous glitter but they don't have to feel the glitter. And that's just using that main butterfly panel. I did bring in 3 extra dies on these 2 cards. One was one of the dot and stitched square layering dies from Tonic. I also brought in this. I did use the actual square that comes in the die set to cut the interior out though, because then that would fit perfectly. And then this sentiment is one of the duo sentiments that was the Thank You Thinking of You set, and obviously this is a sentiment strip die down here as well. But yeah, I think they make really nice cards as well. So if you've exhausted everybody who you can give a cantilever box to, you can still use all of these dies to create really nice cards as well. Or you could even do a matching card to a cantilever box as well, depending on what you're going to put in the cantilever box. So this is where I've used that little skinny rectangle in a couple of places. I've also, sorry for my squeaky chair, I've also shadowed the white die cut there as well with a purpley colour behind before I put the acetate on and added the glitter. And then I've shadowed the sentiment with some silver mirror card, so it's just peeking out behind the white die cut. And then I finished this one off with a scattering of the Amethyst squares, the pure Sheen gemstones in Amethyst squares. And then, obviously, because I did these in the same video, I used the same supplies on it. And the glitter that I've used is the brand new one that's come out in the Tropical Paradise colour trend, and it's called Dragonfly Wings. So this one I did paper piecing, what a surprise. I tend to do paper piecing on a lot of these videos, but I just think it lends itself so well. And I've used silver, and then I think that was called mulberry, maybe. Kraft Perfect cardstock, and then filled in the rest of it with the Dragonfly Wings glitter, and then I've accented with those Amethyst square gemstones again, and I've used the silver mirror card to shadow the sentiment too. And you can see here I've picked out that little heart detail by piecing in some of the heart designs on there too. So that's the video that I filmed, so that will be up as a video. And then I also just had fun yesterday evening and this morning making these two little projects. So this is my double cantilever box, and I've made it from the rose gold foiled white Kraft card, and I've used some of the, what's it called? I think it's called Rose Platinum. Yeah, Rose Platinum mirror cardstock. I was actually just using it from the 6x6 pad, but you could also use the A4 sheets as well. And I just created a triple one. So I have only just placed those pieces of patterned paper inside them just to give a nice lining on the inside. And then I've done it so you've got the two lids that open up as well. So it comes out, let me zoom out a bit. So it comes out like this, and the two lids open as well. And you can see how this mechanism is working. So you can either sort of make it so these bits are straight, or you can pull them backwards a bit further and they sort of slant out even further. But it's really cool. It's a cool little storage thing, like for jewellery or something. Maybe a little child with their little jewellery collection, or maybe like lip glosses or something like that. Or you could do posh chocolates, like different types in the different layers. I think that would be really cool. And yeah, so basically I followed I kind of followed the instructions. I looked at the pictures to figure out exactly how things went together. And then so for the bottom one, you can see inside there how I've stuck two of them together. So I've just used that glue tab to join the two together, and like these two pieces are separate because I just joined two of them. But that's, yeah, so it's really simple to do, just using the instructions, but just creating a slightly different version of it by making it a double stacked one. And then for the lid portion of this, I wanted to create a lid for it rather than them being open. So it's all done with magnets for the closures, and the way I did the lids is I cut some more of the bases but not worrying about the side panels with the holes in. And then here I've used one of the main tabs but chopped off the little skinny rectangle that's on the bottom, and then that is the main bottom of the box, and then this is the other tab, and I've left the little skinny rectangle on. You can see its score line down there, and I just I've hidden magnets underneath there, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But I've just folded that over to give it a more professional looking edge and just to give it a little bit more strength as well. Then I did the same on the other side, and then there is actually 10 magnets holding this all together. You don't have to be so as excessive as that, but I just wanted to make sure it would stay really nicely sort of flush on the top of it. So the main magnetic closure is in this portion, so I've just used that piece that I told you goes through that slit. I've cut 2 of them, but I've sandwiched a small little disc magnet, neodymium one, in between them both, and then I've also hidden a magnet underneath this flap inside here, and that is how that closes. But before I did that, actually, I wanted to make sure that the corners would stay down really nicely. So these ones were like a sort of 10 or 12 millimeter round magnet, and there's actually 4 little magnets in these little tiny corners here, and those are more like a 5 millimeter little thin skinny neodymium magnet, and I've just stuck them right underneath those little corners, and then I've also hidden them on these very outer corners under here, obviously making sure the poles will work, and on both of them here, and then you fold the tabs over and hide all of the magnets, but you can hear how they snap. You can hear them snapping onto the magnets, and it just makes it, you know, a little bit more professional, and it holds it all together really nicely. And then you've got the final magnet just holding the top of it together. So that is my main double cantilever sort of sewing looking box kind of thing. And then I did the same colour scheme, but I wanted to see how you could just make a little sort of box, like a little a trinket box. Maybe you could put a watch in there that you've bought for somebody, or a lottery ticket maybe. It's like a fun way to give a lottery ticket. And then this one just opens like this. It doesn't quite open all the way because of the way I did the back spine. I wanted to crisscross the little brackets, and I've used brads on. You don't really need the brads on here, but I wanted to make them kind of match, so I just used the same brads to secure them down. And then I've done the same, exactly the same thing for the closing mechanism with the magnet on there as well. And then inside I've just lined it with a piece of that wood grain paper just to make it a little bit neater and to cover up all the backs of the brads that were down the back here. And then I don't know if you'll have noticed, but here, so you've got all of the brads on these mechanisms. This is how you do the double one. So if you want to take a screenshot of that to figure out the bracket mechanism for a double one, you need the 2 long ones going diagonally but pointing towards each other. The first time I did it, which is kind of why I had to put these gems on, because I'd made these 2 holes a lot bigger by poking the brad through. First time I did it, I tried to put them this way, and that doesn't work. So they have to go this way, the long ones, and then you just fill in with the 2 shorter ones parallel to them. But yeah, here you can see that I've added gems on. So those are the rose triad gems, just to cover the final holes that were there. It's not too noticeable, and if you did have an excess of brads, you could just put a brad in each of them to sort of match the brads that you've used on the cantilever mechanism. But I probably should say, you do need quite a lot of brads. How many on each side is there? That's 7. 7 on each side, so that's 14, that's 28 brads to create one double cantilever box. So it is quite brad heavy in the construction, which is probably why they give you the instructions to make a one tower one, so you're not using quite so many brads. But I think it's worth it. I think this gives such a cool effect, and like it's such a cool little project to make as well, and it just works so well. It's like the Rolodex or the rotating memoir all over again. You can't really believe that you've managed to make something like this completely out of cardstock. It's quite baffling once you actually make one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this up-close video looking at the Designer's Choice die set. This is number 6, and it is called the Cute Cantilever Box, I think, but the title will have the correct name for it. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the up-close video and enjoyed seeing a couple of different versions that are different to what you get in the instructions, and keep your eyes peeled for this card making video as well. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!